Holy. Jeez. Looks like we're doing all right. I think we're all right now. Dude, I hope we're all right now. Can hear the music on the intro this time? Yeah. Yeah, if you run into any issues throughout the show, hey, welcome to Terrestrial Material, where we talk about the material us terrestrials are interested in, okay? Listen, this has been a trying moment here this morning. It's 2 o'clock now. We're getting closer into the afternoon. I don't see it dropping any frames. I don't see any issues. All right, I got this music just kicking here. I was gonna do like the usual intro music, but like I was almost like too afraid to, you know? I'm like, I don't want to jinx it. Everything seems to be rolling. We seems to be doing good. Gebs, well done. Aw, thank you, dude. Hey, listen, I don't want to count chickens before they hatch here. We're doing all right. Let's keep our fingers crossed here. Let's keep everything, all the good spirits up. But, you know, we don't want to jinx anything because holy, dude. Okay, that's enough of this music. Get this music out of here, all right? Get this music out of here. Yeah, welcome, guys. Happy Sunday. Yeah, once again, sorry for the technical difficulties here at the start. The good news is we have at least a little bit of knowledge about streaming and stuff like that. So we were able to switch the, what do you want to call it? You want to call it the compression, the render codec for it. I moved it away from off of the graphics card, which we've had for, dude, I don't know, the whole year of doing this show. And we switched it over to run off of the processor, which I used to stream off the processor when I streamed video games. But then I decided, everybody said, no, it's always good now. You can stream off the graphics cards now. It's better. But I don't even think that that's the issue, really. I think at the end of the day, it was a bit rate issue for me, which is also weird because I've been streaming at a 10K bit rate for the last at least 8 or 9 months. I haven't had any issue with it. And I run the speed tests. Everything's good to go. There's no problems. I am going to kind of talk about this for a second, let people kind of trickle in. This is people are kind of getting used to it and rolling in here, but yeah, so I dropped the bit rate from 10K to 5K. So you might lose a little bit of image quality that's there. You guys probably don't even care about it, the quality that you lose, because it'll be minuscule, but I'll care a little bit, even though I shouldn't. And that's the way it's going to go. John, thank you for coming back and for reposting, and all you guys, Gebs, you know, Rotary, everybody's that's been kind of sharing out the show, getting the link out, because we've had these little technical issues that go on. So it's good to see Steve Hammers as well. All right. I think we've maybe stalled long enough. We're probably where we need to be. Okay. So look, it's been a couple of weeks, right? It's been a couple of weeks. Ufology has been in such a crazy spot. Like, it's been in such a weird spot. There's been little trickles of interesting things here or there. In my opinion, at least for me, what I want to do with the channel, there hasn't been enough to where I feel like I could bring you guys something that was like a full show, something interesting that wasn't just so spotty with content. You know, when I do these shows, I want the stuff to be fresh. I want it to be new. I don't want to, as you guys know, sit around and talk about Travis Walton all day or any of that stuff. So my channel really relies on there being new news. Nothing wrong with Travis Walton, nothing wrong with Lazar in the old days, but it's just not what I want to focus on and want to talk about. So sometimes we have to wait, you know, a week, sometimes 2 weeks to kind of, you know, acquire enough. Now, a few days ago, is what we're going to get into here, is we've had some really big stuff with Elizondo. We have had a bigger update with Congress. We got some more news on these hearings that are coming. But honestly, a week and a half ago, and I kind of teased this on Twitter a little bit, maybe it was last week, where I was starting to kind of talk about November 3rd and what the show was going to be about. I was laying in bed, man, and I was watching, I was kind of flicking through YouTube like I always do. And I ran into a video. They were probably 25 minutes a piece, but one was on quantum computing and one was on AI and kind of the future of that. And they were amazingly well done. And they explained everything really well. I think that they are in the description, the full videos, but that's kind of what I was hinting at in that tweet, where I was like, hey, look, the second half of the show might be a little bit longer because I want to kind of give some special coverage to these topics that I haven't really talk too much about on the channel, but it's really interesting stuff. It's really relevant to what I think a lot of this phenomenon could be, and just kind of the further development and what we might see coming down the road. So yeah, that's kind of the layout. Hit Lue Elizondo stuff, hit the Congress stuff, tie it up, hit the AI stuff at the end, and it should be a lot of fun. So with all that out of the way, let's jump over to, let's get on over to our big screen here, the big old big screen, if it will. Please just go to the big screen, okay? Thank God. All right. What we always do here, let's zoom in, get a really good look at what's going on here. Let's make sure on the right side, Twitter's not going to get us in trouble for something over here, something bad. I always feel like I'm risking it every single time. We're pulling this thing up here, okay? As you guys all know, all right, Lue Elizondo, he has been on a tour. The book obviously came out in, I think it was August, right? It was August, nearing the end of August. And he's been kind of making his moves and making his rounds and everything like that. And this is the tour that he's been going on recently. And it's a paid tour, right? You go to these bars. I see October 28th at the City Winery in Philadelphia, PA. That's going to be a big moment that we're going to talk about here. November 3rd, the Rialto Theater in Tucson, the 7th, the 8th, the 18th, the 20th. Okay, these areas here on this calendar. This calendar is kind of going to be a bigger deal a little bit later on the show, but right now we're going to be looking at this October 28th date at the City Winery in Philadelphia, PA. Why are we doing that? Well, we're doing that because a lot of controversy came out. Okay, a little bit of controversy. Might have been a little hidden camera put in on one of these book tour sessions here. And before we get into that, let's take a look at what these kind of look like, right? I want to be able to show you guys what you're seeing here. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people. I think it's like 60 or 70 bucks a head, if I'm right, to actually be able to get in here and do this. There's actually a lot more people than I thought would have been at these. Which you might think, dude, he's got a New York Times bestseller. He's been on Rogan. He's been all over the place. Yeah, but I don't know. For me, it's still surprising. But he obviously packed the house. I mean, it was sold out, as you can see. Everybody looks like they're having a good time. She's on her phone down here. She's like, yeah, I don't know. My boyfriend dragged me here. I don't even know who this Elizondo guy is. But it looks cool. The venue looks pretty nice, right? And then there must be some kind of like meet and greet, like photo VIP thing that they're doing or something like that. Because obviously you got Lou here with the Men in Black and he's in full character here. He's in full character. So he's having a good time. So I guess you could go there and get your picture taken with him and stuff like that. We've seen stuff like this, right? I used to go to the VIP meet and greets for a lot of bands in the like late 2000s, mid 2000s too. You'd pay for like the VIP tickets. There probably is something that's like that's involved. You might have to pay a little bit extra to kind of meet him or what have you. But yeah, so there's a picture from there. I don't know who this is, but he looks like he's having a good time here. He's meeting Lou. Lou's all done up here. Oh, he's got the jacket on here. This last photo, he didn't have the jacket. He took the jacket off. Okay. He's got the pin here. He's done up. He's a jeans guy with the suit top. I'll give him credit on that. I'm the same way, man. I'm not a dress clothes guy like whatsoever. So that's always a good deal. So that's kind of the vibe. That's kind of the feel. Come get your picture taken with Lou. Come have some beers. He's going to talk to you about ATIP, OSAP. He's going to give you his opinions on it, okay? So this is where everything kind of starts to go weird. All right. So the Average Chris, shout out to him on October 31st. And I think this came out maybe even like the day after. I'm not exactly sure if it came out on the 29th, the 30th, or this is one of the original posts on the 31st, but this video clip came out from that event. And we'll read this here for him. So during the show last night with Stephen Cambion, I think he's just tagging him in that, I was sent this video of Lue Elizondo claiming he talked with pilots about the Romania 2022 UFO, claiming the pilots confirmed that, quote, that's what they saw and continue to see. Is he lying about the conversation with the pilots too? Okay, so let's play this clip. We're going to hear Lou talking. And I don't think we were supposed to be able to hear this, dude. So this is going to be interesting enough. Let's go.
Real photo. Let me tell you a little bit about this. And then we're going to open this up for some discussion. We were having pilots, military pilots and civilian pilots in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East report what unimaginably seemed impossible. They described it as literally the mothership, looking like the mothership from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now, if any of you ever seen that movie, remember the very end, this huge mini city floating in the sky and turns upside down. It looks. Guess what we caught in Romania in 2022? By the way, the U.S.
Guess what we caught in Romania in 2022? That's this image. And we're obviously, if you were paying attention, we're going to pull up the better version of this image. But this is the image that he's talking about here, guys. This is pretty interesting.
Embassy. That. Now, is it atmospheric anomaly or something like that? I suppose so. I've talked to some of the pilots, and they'll tell you that's what they saw, and they continue to see it. Okay. So there's a whole lot more here, folks. I just want to give you kind of a small taste.
This is what the pilot's seen. This is what they're saying they've seen. Okay, let's take a look at this image, huh? Let's blow this thing up. Actually, you know what we can do? Let's open it up the image in a new tab. That way we can actually zoom in here a little bit on it. I think we can from this. Yeah, okay. So this is supposed to be the image from Romania in 2022. All right, what do you see about this image? Okay, when we take a look at this image, this is very, very interesting what you're going to notice with this image. Okay, he's saying that these pilots are saying that this is a mothership in the clouds. All right. And also, the rumor is that Lue's had this photo supposedly in his possession that he's showing off at these events that he's charging people money to go to. Okay, for 2 years. Let's zoom in. I see right off the top what looks like, to me, a light fixture of some kind, a chandelier, if you will. Chandelier gate, that's how we're getting to that. That's what it looks like to me. And if you really look here, what you'll notice, out of these little frilly little swirls, that looks like hair to me. That looks like hair. Well, then you're asking yourself, well, how is that possible? If this is a mothership, how could this be a chandelier with hair on it? Well, the way that would be a chandelier with hair on it would be because the picture is being taken behind glass window. Okay? There's been many versions, and John Greenwall does a really great breakdown on his channel about this too, where he shows a lot of really good examples of these kind of photos that are done before. This is not anything new that we've seen in ufology. Okay? You look down here too. What do you see here? This doesn't make any sense. This little flash right here, okay? This little reflection, excuse me. Very, very out of place. Unless you want to say that Chris Bledsoe is over there in Romania pulling out orbs, which I don't think that's what's happening here. So that's a dead giveaway, but this really, really, really looks bad, okay? This really looks bad. So obviously this is controversial to say the least, right? We got the guy. You know what else you can see in this photo too? You kind of got to look. I don't know if you guys will see with the resolution, but you can see that this area of the clouds and the sky is darker. It is obviously darker right if you trace this. You can see the outline of the head right here. Okay. The other part of this story about this image is that supposedly this image was taken at the American Embassy in Romania. But the problem with that is there's been a lot of fancy footwork done and people have been able to kind of go back behind the scenes. Like I said, John Greenwall did a really good job of it. But what we found is that the photo was actually taken 300 miles away from the embassy in Romania. Okay? It's actually from an apartment building. And the photo was actually first online in 2003. Taken from Facebook. Facebook image. So this image is bad. It's no good. It's debunked. When I showed my wife this image, guys, I didn't tell her anything. I just said, does this look like a UFO to you? And she said, it looks like a chandelier shining off the top of a ceiling in seconds. So I don't know how he's going to have this thing for 2 years. He's not going to understand what the hell that thing is, but I digress. So that's what ends up breaking down with that. Okay. And now we got some other things from Chris here. Chris was popping up a lot, man. Chris was really, really tweeting a lot here. And he says, looks like we found the hashtag UFO that Elizondo is charging people to see behind closed doors. Yes, people are actually paying money to see a presentation by Lue, and they're getting reflections of chandeliers as evidence of aliens. People should be demanding a refund. I agree, dude. I'd like to get the money back on that. He probably should, to be quite frank, at least in PA. I mean, I don't think he's going to show that image, obviously, anywhere else. I mean, I'm hoping, and we'll get into a little bit of this as we continue to go on, where Lue's going to be here in the future. But I hope not. This seemed pretty good as a pick for this. What do you guys think, man? Can I just flip right back to it? Yeah. That's not a bad guess. That is not a bad guess, man, whatsoever. Orbell's Cat says, evening all. Hope you're all. Question, do you think this could be deliberate from Lue to get out and leave ufology as a joke? He said numerous times he's not a UFO guy. Yeah, I mean, well, look, I'll get into a little bit of that, what I think is kind of going on here with it. I think a lot of it's up in the air. But at the end of the day, I guess if you want a really quick TLDR, what I just think that Lue's potentially just a really, really just compulsive liar, man. He's just a storyteller. And we know people, we've met people in our lives that just, no matter what the stakes are, no matter what they're doing, they're always telling a story and they're always making something up. So that's, I guess, just to kind of answer your question on a really quick take there. Is he going to exit ufology though? I don't think so. I don't think so at this point. We'll have to see kind of how things shake out with these hearings and stuff like that. The hearings will set the tone for next year, in my opinion, of what we're going to get as far as like any kind of like at least like government sanctioned disclosure, or kind of what these heroes or of ufology, however you want to say it, these famous celebrities in ufology, how they're all going to move and function. I think a lot of it's going to be based off of how these hearings play out. Okay. Now this says, Lue Elizondo told multiple behind the scenes, multiple, I think he means people here. This is from Red Panda Koala. Let me zoom back in so you guys can actually see this. Okay. Shout out Red Panda Koala. Lue Elizondo told multiple behind the scenes that he interviewed pilots related to fake Romanian UFO photo, per Stephen Cambion's sources. This would mean he not only lied about the photo, but his whole apology tour that his fans are praising him for was also more lies. Now we're going to get into that. But the interesting thing here is there's a clip. Okay, there was a Twitter space that was ran by UFO Shane. Shout out UFO Shane. And he titles it Luis Elizondo Support Group. Don't worry, we will get you through it. Yeah, the whole community has been just turning on Lue, like crazy, turning on Lue. I think it started mostly probably in August. Well, right when the book leaks came out. The book leaks came out, I think, a couple of weeks before the book, if I remember right. Maybe like 2 weeks when we did our show on it, on the leaks. And people were upset about that orb story and stuff like that. So it's only been going down for Lue. At least with the UFO community, it's only been going down for Lue. But this clip I'm about to play was taken from a Twitter space where Stephen Cambion is talking about essentially what Lue has been doing with this photo. Because you got to ask yourself, if he's had the photo for 2 years, is this really the first places he's been using it or showing it off? Okay. Stephen Cambion says he has sources. Now, none of this is confirmed because he won't give the names, and I'll let him explain it a little bit for you. But this was a pretty interesting clip here. All right.
They are who they say they are. And one of them even provided me with proof of a business relationship with Lue Elizondo. And so the caveat is, so far, neither of them want to come on my show and do an interview or allow me to use their name. But given both of them told me the same exact story, which I think really shed some light on this chandelier photo. And here's what I was told by both of them. Lue Elizondo, previous to putting that picture in his presentations, showed that to people as a big proof. You know, when asked, essentially the one person who had a business relationship with him, basically said, I need you to bring me all of your best proof and we'll go over it. And that was one of the things that he showed this person. And I did see proof of their business relationship, including contracts. So I believe this person. And anyway, they said that Lue Elizondo showed them the photo and then said, yeah, this was taken at the American Embassy and it's been declassified. And the person was kind of confused, like, well, if this was taken at the embassy, that's got to be classified or something, how or is it legal for you to show this to me or share this? And Lue Elizondo said it's declassified because there's not a problem with sources and methods, because this was taken from a surveillance camera right outside the embassy.
Now, a surveillance camera right outside the embassy. What have we already run over? That's not even the story. We know the image wasn't taken from that. We know the image was taken from an apartment building 300 miles away. Okay? So evidently, Lue is shopping around for documentaries, and he's taking photos like this, and he's showing these people these photos, right? It's no good. It's no good. It's definitely not a good look for everything that we got going on, coming up here. But I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit more of this clip here for you guys. So like I said, this is all alleged. I want to keep putting that out there. Like even Cambion's saying the same thing. Look, until he can get, a real source on record, he doesn't really want to say that it's 100%. I'm not saying that this is 100% true. Just all the caveats we could possibly do. How's it going, Red? Good to see you. Thanks for coming, bro. Yeah. So we'll keep listening to it, but this is just the rumor. And look, there's been a lot of stuff that's been behind the scenes as rumors coming out about Lue. Okay, a lot of stuff. So it doesn't surprise me that there's more of this stuff that's continuing to leak out and leak out and leak out. Lue doesn't seem like he has a whole lot of friends behind the scenes right now. So,
and then additionally, Lue Elizondo told both these people that he interviewed the pilots, and this is what they saw. So
wow,
if these two people are accurate, and I truly believe that they are, I'm really kind of leaning on them to try at least one of them. I even got them in contact with each other. Like at least one of you guys. Really
they didn't even know each other. Oh shit!
Yeah, they didn't know each other.
Oh shit, dude.
So that's interesting too, right? So he's got two different documentary film people, and who knows who they are? I don't know. No idea. To be honest with you, I really wouldn't even speculate on it. It seems kind of pointless to even do that. But they don't even know each other. If that is true, that's a really big validation that that's probably the case, that Lue is actually doing this. God, I hope these guys come out. Boy, I would love to know the real deal behind the scenes here.
Apparently what's happening is that Lue Elizondo is shopping for documentary deals, and this is some of the things that he's telling people, and he showed them this photo, both of them, and told them both essentially the same story, which he kind of tells in that video, that this was outside an embassy, or he mentions the embassy, and then he says he talked to the pilots.
Shane's over here going, this motherfucker, dude.
So it appears to me that there's one of two possibilities. Either Lue Elizondo is just blindly repeating whatever he was told by the person who gave him the photo, or he's just making shit up to go with shit he finds on the internet, because that video was from Facebook, a public Facebook.
It's so low effort, dude. It's so low effort.
Yeah, it is pretty low effort, without a doubt. I mean, it's ballsy. It's ballsy. I don't know. When I look at this thing, I ask myself, why would he do this? Really, what is the value in him doing and showing these images at these book tour spots? I mean, is he just testing the waters to see just how far he can go? Like, just how dumb people really are? I kind of wondered, and I was talking about this last night, I'm thinking that, we've all been sitting around and kind of complaining and saying, look, we have all this testimony, but we don't have any proof, right? And now he's went on podcast after podcast after podcast, and he's obviously made tons and tons of money off that book. I don't know exactly how many sales there are, but it's New York Times bestseller. And it went on Rogan. I'm sure it sold more than 10 copies. Some people were buying 2 copies. They wanted the audio version and the other and the regular version of the book. So does he feel that to kind of keep the Elizondo train rolling, because he doesn't, in my opinion, he doesn't really have much else to say. The book was kind of where he shot his wad, to me, in my opinion. Does he feel like to kind of keep that the train rolling, he has to start making this stuff up or pulling these photos out, and he's seeing, okay, how far do I have to dig? Can I just pull crappy photos and get away with it? Or do I have to try to get some stuff that I know isn't real, but it looks really, really good? How hard do I have to work? Shane brings up a really, really good point right there. He said it's so low effort. It's a low effort situation, right? So I don't know. It's a very interesting thing. So now you're probably asking yourself, okay, right? This video gets leaked out there. Definitely wasn't supposed to be out there. From what I know, I don't know if Cambion actually knows the guy who took the video, pulled the Logan Paul button cam trick, and got the video out. Thank God that he did. But if you're thinking to yourself, so what is Lue saying? What's Lue's take on this? He's got to be embarrassed. How would he not be embarrassed? Did he run away? Did he respond? Well, it looks like he responded. So let's take a look at Lue's response. Oh man, you're gonna see the end funnies before we get to him. I think I can just do this right here for it. Yes. Okay. Perfect. So it says, here's Lue Elizondo's response to this. As you all know, I'm always happy to be my own worst critic. Aw, poor Lue. He's down in the dumps. I can just see him writing this line. He's looking at his phone. As you all know, I'm happy to be my own worst critic. Oh, damn, dude. Oh, boy. A photo that was provided to me by a friend in government a couple of years ago was presented by me 2 days ago at our engagement in Philadelphia. Now let's look at that again. A photo that was provided to me by a friend in government a couple years ago. Who's the friend in government? Who gave him this photo? I sure would love to know. I think Greenwall's got a little open-ended invitation on an answer for that question. I believe he tweeted at him for that. So by a friend in government, was that Lue's friend? And what I mean by that is, would a friend give you something that you're going to be able to walk out there and look like an idiot with? I don't know. It might not have been a very good friend to me. I wouldn't say that would be my friend at this point. I definitely wouldn't be friends with that person anymore if Lue feels that he really got duped. But how could we feel that he really got duped if he was the big UFO hunter for the government, for the Pentagon, and he had this photo for a couple of years? To me, the whole duped story doesn't work. Okay, so now it says, looks like we can put this one, he means to bed. As our friends in Twitter figured/solved this one, major bravo to you. Excellent work to whoever solved this one, and a big thank you. Crowdsourcing works. Crowdsourcing? That's weird. Because I didn't get a chance to see the photo before this. Crowdsourcing to me would be putting the photo out prior, posting it on Twitter and saying, hey, got a photo that I can share. It's obviously not classified at this point. It's obviously something that he's not going to get in trouble for sharing because he's, showing on a big screen at a bar. Okay. Crowdsourcing is putting it on Twitter and saying, what do you guys think? Crowdsourcing should also be free, in my opinion, with something like this. Shouldn't be charging people to do the evidence for you, to look at the evidence for you. $70? Not good. There's nothing about this statement so far that I'm jiving with, as you can tell. Now let's see if together we can figure out the rest. Oh, are you going to include us the next time? Did we learn something, Lue? I would like to be included. That'd be great. Send it to TM's way, all right? Okay, so now it says, as folks at the show will attest, this is precisely why I showed the first few slides at the beginning with an example of a fake UAP. No. You got to show it to us, the public, for free. Put it out there for free. Let us take a look at it. We must continue to be vigilant and always go where the data leads. As you know, I will always own up to any mistake I make. A good lesson here, just because someone in government gives me something. Let's read this again. A good lesson here. Just because someone in government gives me something. Due diligence and scrutiny is always a good idea. Wow. That's interesting coming from Lue. Because that's what a lot of people in this community have been doing, Lue. You were from the government, probably, you could say still with the government, and you've been giving us a whole lot. And we've been scrutinizing it. And I feel that he hasn't been very happy about that scrutinization. Is that the word, scrutinization? Probably the word. And I'm not going to go down the whole rabbit hole of all those things, but it doesn't seem to me like he's been very happy about it. So onwards and upwards. Look, onwards and upwards, I don't know, Lue. That remains to be seen how more onward and upward you're going to be, but this is not good. look, I give credit for him not burrowing himself away at least a little bit and making a statement about it. But, you know, the PR statement wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. Doesn't seem to make any sense. You can't be the UFO hunter and mess that up, okay? So now this is courtesy of King Milkfart Harassment Archive. Pray for Lue Elizondo on some sad ass thanking the remaining followers tour. Okay. So he's been responding even more. And there's been a lot of people that, it's hard to even say a lot of people, but I'm sure that there are more people that we're not hearing about. So I kind of want to say a lot of people. But if you could believe it, there are people that are still kind of like giving him a pass on this stuff. Such a weird statement. Absolutely. Little Pop-Tart, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. By friend in government, he means... Yeah. There were no pilots involved. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how the pilots were involved at all. No. But it says, pray for Lue. Okay, so let's go ahead and, let's just grab the image. We'll do this so we can actually zoom in and we can see it. And we can do the fun stuff here. All right, pray for Lue. I'm praying for Lue. Lue, come to the light. Stop showing these BS photos, bro. You're hurting shit, okay? You're the big name, you're the big face, you're all over the place. You can't let this stuff go. You want to make the big money, you want to make the books, you want to get all the interviews, you want to do all that. That comes with a price. The price is you got to be right. You got to be right, man. If you're good intentioned, but I mean, that remains to be seen. This person says, awesome statement. Elizondo says, thank you. You have no idea how much your support means to my wife and I as we read the comments. Appreciate you. This guy's just, I don't know who these people are, by the way. Nick Tussing, he's right on board. He's Lue crew for life. He's like, yeah, man, it's okay. It's okay. You had it for 2 years and you got it wrong. Keep getting more of my money. Here's Elizondo on this one. No need. Ufologically smug. Says, Lue, don't owe us anything. Your explanation earlier was more than satisfactory. Nobody with your schedule could possibly be expected with your schedule. He had it for 2 years, brother. He had it for 2 years. Come on. Thank you, Smug. I appreciate that. And as you know, I try to own my own mistakes when made. I appreciate the support, brother. In this case, my mistake was trusting the source of information. I mean, just that itself raises so many questions, man. Ugh. It raises so many questions about the source of the information. This one says, let them attack. I was there Monday and me and my wife enjoyed it. It was all new information for her, which I believe is the point of the presentation. He says, I really appreciate that, Dave, and thank you for being here. See, this is what I don't agree with. I think this is, and, I like John Strader, and I think he's tough enough for me to disagree with him here on something. This is something Strader was saying last night in a space, and I only bring it up because of him because he made the statement and it stuck out to me. But shout out to John. I like John. We agree on most things. But this is Dave Schiavo guy is saying it was all new information to her, which I believe is the point of presentation. So many people are saying, well, look at the good Lue's done over time. Look at all the information he's been putting out there, right? Look at all the baseline that all these new people are coming in with. Well, look at this guy's wife. Her new information, her getting into the subject and learning it, is false stuff. It's wrong. She's learning the wrong things. That's not good. We don't want that. That's bad for the presentation. How many new people? Look at, I could pull that image up again, but looked like a couple hundred people maybe in that room. How many of those people do you think look into ufology the way that we all do? Probably not as many as you probably would think. Probably a lower number than you think. Probably a lot of wives in there. Probably a lot of husbands or boyfriends or girlfriends or what have you. Grandparents, parents, people that took their kids to the show or older adults that took their mom or took their dad, that have no idea about ufology, don't know who Lue Elizondo is. They're all learning this for the first time. And they think that this Romania picture that they're looking at is a damn mothership that pilots have confirmed. And that supposedly this really famous UFO guy that they just had happened to see on Joe Rogan is endorsing this photo. And it's all wrong. It's wrong. And the crazy part is, and this is what really sucks too, is this is the section of the the presentation that he made that we actually were able to see. Who knows what else has been put out? Because I would guess that whoever recorded the video was probably obviously a very in tune person with ufology, probably very in tune with UFO Twitter, what's going on, right? There's probably not a whole lot of other video that's going on. I'm wondering if video was even allowed. It probably wasn't. A lot of comedy shows, a lot of comedians don't allow the filming. And I'm wondering if he was kind of betting on that too, that this wouldn't come out, or at least if it came out, it would just be rumor because nobody had any proof that he showed it. Could be another thing behind it. But yeah, I think that's bad. I don't want people's first introduction to ufology at this point, especially, to be Lue Elizondo. I can't recommend it anymore at all. I mean, I never really wanted to recommend it. Let's be real. I've always been skeptical of this guy. He just keeps, it's just like every turn, every week, we're hearing something else where I step back and I go, yeah, I've been just confirming everything that I've thought that's been going on with him. And he's been just this virus, this bacteria that's been able to spread around. And it's not just recent. It's not just from the book, man. Like I've been saying this a couple weeks ago. Look all the way back to 2014, 2015, TTSA, 2017. This has been going on for a long time. And people are just starting to see more and more as time goes on, the unfolding and the truth with a lot of this is just starting to come out. Let's look at Irene Danks here. Okay, Irene Danks says this admission has caused immeasurable damage to Lue's reputation. He's lost me. He's lost me. Lue Elizondo, sorry you feel that way. Best to you. That was like, yeah, best to you. Hey, we'll see you. But I think a lot of people feel this way. I think personally, at least the UFO community, most people are feeling like Irene Danks, that she's dank, dude. I think most people are feeling like her. That this has caused immeasurable damage to Lue's reputation, and a lot of the community's just been turning. Like I said, I started to notice it with the orb story, the orb leaks, the remote viewing leaks of the book, especially after the book came out. More and more people were talking about, them being 4 or 5 angels, and they're shaking the guy's bed. It's just the more that he's spoke, the more he's come out and out and out, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And the community's starting to kind of go the other way, which, hey, it happens, man. It happens. And then the last thing I'll say on this too is that I hear a lot of people say, well, what does this matter? Why does it matter at this point? Well, I think it's the timing. The timing matters, right? The timing really, really seems to make a difference. And it's because we're so involved with Congress right now. We're so involved with Congress. We have some very, very important ears, very important eyes on the topic right now. And we want to make sure that we keep our best foot forward. Okay. That's why it's important. If this was in 2014, 2015, we didn't have all this attention, you probably could just look at this and say, hey, look, it's somebody else that it didn't work out. The guy told a bunch of stories. We can move on. We can let it go. But the stage and the stakes are higher than they've ever been. Even if it's only a 1% chance that we could get disclosure from the government, anything with Congress could work. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And then you also have to start talking about looking back, right? This was the form that Lue filled out through the Pentagon, through Dopser, to go ahead and get these videos out. These 3 videos: the gimbal, the go fast, and the Tic Tac. Okay. So he put in that subject line, and I give Chris pulled this out too, man. He's been batting 1,000 here. I'm pulling out some really good questions here. Really good questions. UAV, balloons, and other UAS. Okay. Now, if you read Lue's book, in his book, he says, hey, look, the Pentagon made me do this, or Dopser made me do this. Okay. They made me classify it as this to get it out. But now you have to ask yourself, if he did have that photo for 2 years, and he did look at it, and he was that susceptible to being wrong, and his perception as a UFO hunter and as somebody who would study this topic is that easily wrong, that pulls these videos into question. Or the other angle is, if he is lying and it's all just a big scam, then you have to look at this and say, that would be proof that he was trying to scam people with those videos, that those videos really are UAVs, balloons, and unmanned aerial systems. The shade that this photo throws over everything is crazy. And a lot of it is because we've never had something so definitive like this from him, where we can look at it and go, damn, yeah, this is like black and white. It's right here. He's absolutely wrong with this. And, you know, we're just hoping it's not malicious for a lot of sakes, but it's right there. You have to start going back now and pulling all this stuff into question. And that's tough. That's really, really tough. Another good example of this. Okay. Another good example. If you guys remember back when TTSA first came out and they did their big, you know, press conference, it wasn't much press there, to be honest with you, but Christopher Melon got himself kind of caught in a similar situation with this. Okay. This To the Stars Academy live presentation on Nimitz UFO by Chris Melon. The Nimitz UFO photo is of a party balloon taken in Manchester, UK in 2005 by Steve Mera. Okay. Why is this important? Well, because Christopher Melon and Lue Elizondo have quite the relationship. Okay. Quite the relationship. The relationship, from what we're hearing, mostly stems from, well, a lot of the beginning of it stems from Lue actually reading in Christopher Melon into a lot of these supposed programs and photos and videos, all of this UFO information that he showed Christopher Melon in back in the quote unquote ATIP days. Okay, that Christopher Melon had come in and Lue Elizondo had told him, hey, look, I'll read you into all this stuff, but you got to go get these tickets. Tickets are another word for clearances. And he kind of blew it off, I guess, supposedly in the book. And he goes, this guy's probably never going to, it's going to be a year before I see Melon again. This is what Lue was saying in the book. But I guess, you know, a week, 2 weeks later, Melon's already back. He's got all the tickets and everything. And Lue, as the story goes from the book, which I personally think it's probably a true story, because if it wasn't true, Christopher Melon, who wrote the book, probably would have stepped in and said, no, he didn't brief me on it. I had my own experiences, or I found my own things while I was working for SecDef. Okay. But he doesn't say that. He writes the foreword, which to me, he's saying everything is fair that's in the book about him. Okay. He's got no contest with it. And he said that after he showed Melon he gave Melon the briefing and showed him all this material, that Melon was very furious about it. He was very upset that he wasn't read in, wasn't shown, didn't know what was going on from his position before. Okay. So why does this matter? Because now I sit here and I ask myself, and I look at this, and this makes more sense to me now. This photo of maybe where this photo came from. So now you have to ask yourself, did this photo come from Lue? Because this is post. This is all post Pentagon for Lue. This is all during the TTSA era, just after Lue Elizondo ended up joining TTSA. Is that where this came from? Is this another photo that Lue's friend gave him that Lue just passed on and didn't really look at and provided to TTSA? And Melon went up there and showed the photo and kind of looked like an asshole about it? I mean, he did. He looked like no offense, dude. Kind of looked like an asshole about it. That's interesting. We have to go way back now. We have to go way back. We have to look at these other things now and kind of try to piece this stuff together as we're going through it. Well, Pop-Tart says TTSA was a direct response to Greer movie Unacknowledged. Yeah, I mean, could be, yeah. Arrest Lue for crimes against humanity. Yeah. Hammer says, the more I hear and see about Lue, the more I see he's just following the money. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, I don't mean to tangent into that, but I mean, I think a lot of this has been about Lue and the money and for a while now. And I think a lot of that stemmed from after he was let go of TTSA, this whole big, I mean, really the Lue Elizondo tour started right after that. I mean, that's when you started to see him going on all these podcasts. And in my opinion, he was building a grassroots following. This is my opinion, to get this book out here and make this money. Okay. Because TTSA ended up booting him out, and he didn't get the money and blah, blah, blah. It's a whole nother story. But this was very interesting to me. This is exactly what I thought back to when a lot of this was going on when I was reading this stuff. So Greenwall was on top of this too, man. He's slick too. He's right there. Okay. Now we got to ask ourselves, is this a reoccurring thing that we've seen with Lue over time? Has Lue pushed material that is not exactly true? Has he pushed CGI images before? Has he said anything is real that isn't real before? Well, we've got a clip that's been pulled up here. I think this is also courtesy of Red here. And Red says, what you see here are real photographs along with a story. The headline story came out. Lue Elizondo presents fake photos of 1952 UFO wave over DC as real photographs. Okay. Now this photo on the side here, this is popular, man. This has been around for a while. Greenwall was saying that this photo is confirmed, especially with him, fake, because he was trying to use this, I think, in a documentary, and they couldn't find the photo. They couldn't find the licensing for it or what have you. So the photo is fake, supposedly. And I don't know this to be 100% sure, but there's not any actual real photos of that 52 flyover that are real. So you have that here, and you have him talking about this here, and he makes a little bit of mention of it. It's a 2-minute video. I think it's on the front end here where he mentions this image. We'll play it for a second. If it's not, I don't want to waste a bunch of time on it because it's a 2-minute clip, but we'll go ahead and play this here.
In the early 1950s.
Oh, and by the way, the show is going to be long today, guys. There's a lot to go over here. Okay, it's going to be a longer show. I know we're getting at 45 minutes, but it's been a couple of weeks, man. Let's have a little bit longer of a show.
The United States had another very significant event over our nation's.
Let me start this over because it's important what he says. He says in 1952 right here.
In the early 1950s, the United States had another very significant event over our nation's capital.
Ora, nei primi anni 50 hanno visto un evento molto significativo che si è svolto nella nostra capitale.
Once again, these objects were identified both with the naked eye and then again on radar.
Ancora una volta questi oggetti sono stati visti sia sul radar, sullo schermo del radar, che con gli occhi dei testimoni.
And unlike Roswell,
E a differenza di Roswell,
many people had cameras and were able to take photographs.
molti erano coloro che avevano.
He says, unlike Roswell, many people had cameras and they were able to take photographs. That's important because that's the first little click in here that he's referencing that this photo is actually real.
Ma erano in possesso di macchine fotografiche e hanno potuto fare delle foto.
And what you see here are real photographs along with the headline story that came out.
What you see here are real photographs and the headline story, the story that came out. This image is right there. It's right there. Okay? So it's not, I guess, technically the first time, but this kind of went under the radar, I think. It definitely did for me. I don't remember seeing this. So this is pretty big. However, I think that the latest one, the Romanian one, has so much more connection to him. There's obviously he's made claims supposedly talking to the pilots and where the photo was taken and how it was taken, and there's so much alleged with it. It's just different. It's different for me. So it's a bigger deal, even though this one's kind of, it's not good either. So it's not like that there isn't some kind of pattern. Okay. Now, before we move on, kind of what we've been talking about here is, why is this important? Why is this such a problem right now? Okay. What do we have coming up? We've got hearings coming up. Right? We have Senate side hearings. We have House side hearings. Where we would see someone like Lue Elizondo is probably at the November 13th hearings, House side. Okay. Now ask yourselves, with the state that Lue is in right now, with how bad the community is with him, and everybody's upset with him, what he's done right now, showing this false picture, he's bringing a lot of negativity to himself. I wouldn't say leper, but I mean, like, because that's not really the way that I want to say that. I just mean, like, he isn't, how do you say it? Like, he's tainted. He's tainted right now. Okay. And we don't know exactly who is supposed to be at these. We know Tim Gallaudet's supposed to be, testifying at the November 13th hearing, but we don't know if there's 2 or 3 more people. Why is that a problem? Well, let's let Lue tell you why that could be a problem. Okay.
Break some new news. There's a lot happening, folks. There's a lot happening. There are, there's a chance I may be testifying here soon.
There's a chance I may be testifying soon. Say that again, Lue, one more time.
News. There's a lot happening, folks. There's a lot happening. There are, there's a chance I may be testifying here soon.
Okay. Now, if you were maybe a little bit skeptical of whether or not this is possible, because obviously you got to be skeptical about a lot about what he says now, at the very least. I mean, me, I'm this whole situation, TLDR, dude, I'm out with Lue. I'm out with him personally. I don't really care about hearing much from him anymore. I was already kind of burnt with him after the book. I realized I wasn't going to get anything further out of him at this point. But now that this has happened for me, he's kind of burnt the last bit. I don't hope any bad on him, dude. I hope the best for him and his family. I hope you guys are, all good. But as far as when it comes to ufology and talking about this topic and being a representative of ufology anymore, I'd rather have him just go ahead and step away. Take his book money and bounce, dude. Take your money and bounce. You've done enough here. You've put us in a bad spot. But if you were somebody who was maybe a little bit skeptical, okay, whether or not that's possible, when I first heard that clip, the first thing is I was like, the dates, okay, 13th, we're here on the 13th. Is it even possible for him to be there in DC for that hearing? You know, is it possible? Well, let's take a look. Okay, here's the tour dates. PA on the 28th. The 3rd, which is today, obviously he's in Tucson. He's in Arizona. The 7th, he's going to be in Art Center, Evans, Georgia. On the 8th, he's going to be in Florida. Ooh, Jacksonville, Florida. So we're coming back from the West. We're leaning in here on the 8th. On the 18th, he's going back to Missouri, okay? So you have 10 days in between. Now, the 18th date, which obviously I don't think he wouldn't go with the Senate hearing anyways, from what we're already hearing, what the Senate hearing is going to be on the 19th. But the 8th and the 18th, the 13th falls right there, and it puts him right there on the East Coast. So you could say, well, maybe he's just bullshitting, and he's saying, you know, I'm going to be there, and I could be there and testify. I think it's possible. I think it's likely, to be honest. For the longest time, have always said, you know, I don't think the guy has told the truth enough to actually go there and do that. I didn't think he would actually go in front of Congress and say the things that he's been saying. So I never really believed it. Then I seen this and I was like, shit, he might actually go. And now I'm like, man, I really hope he doesn't go. You know, I really hope he doesn't go. Now, the silver lining here is if he does end up going, which is, in my opinion, it's bad, because when he does talk, people are on that stage are going to look him up like crazy. And this photo of the chandelier is going to come up. It was on Drudge Report. It's going to come up. They're going to find it. So that's bad right away, because they're going to leave the hearing right there and leave it right away. But the only silver lining is that obviously he's not going to take that photo to Congress, and he might have. If this button cam video, could you imagine? I'm assuming it's a button cam. I just like to say button cam. It's probably some other cam. Okay? But if that video doesn't come out and we don't call him on this, could you imagine him sitting in front of Nancy Mace and saying, yeah, here's the photo that the pilots had in Romania? Holy shit. Disaster. Sitting in front of Tim Burchett, Anna Paulina Luna, Burleson. Dude, could you imagine the blowback? Terrible. It'd be horrible. Now, a big motivation for him to go is obviously this book. He's on this book tour. He's looking to make as much money as he possibly can. Okay? That's why I think he would go and testify. I think he would. So, like I said, I want to stream the hearings on November 13th. I think that's a Wednesday. I'm sure they're going to be in the mornings. I want to live stream them and watch them. But if you see him walk out there, I'm not going to be surprised, man. I'm not going to be surprised. So that's who I don't want at these hearings, okay? That's who I don't want. Now, we know, as far as D. Dean Johnson, this guy's been extremely reliable on information, along with Matt Laszlo. These guys have been like, I've always looked to D. Dean Johnson and Laszlo for a lot of this congressional stuff. They've been on point. You know, he's saying here the hearing will be co-chaired by House Oversight Committee Cyber Subcommittee Chairman Mace, National Security Subcommittee Chairman Grothman. He's just kind of like telling you updating who's actually going to be chairing it. It's going to be a joint hearing on November 13th. So this is official to me. I know a lot of people have been kind of going back and forth whether or not it was going to happen. It was for me too. I was kind of going back and forth. But no, I think this is pretty locked in at this point. November 13th is going to be the day. And also, I'll just jump up a little bit ahead here, and just since we're already rolling through Congress, Senate UAP hearing, Kristen Gillibrand scheduled for November 19th. And I'm going to go with vetted on this one, dude. We've heard about this for a while, though. It's not new. November 19th date has been there for a while. The hearing with this, though, is that this is going to be an AARO checkup. Obviously, John Kozlowski is the new AARO representative or new head of AARO. They're going to have a little bit of a probably almost like a little meet and greet. I feel like a little bit, you know, they're going to get some updates on AARO, what AARO's doing. I really hope, and I'm assuming we're going to get updates on volume 2, the report volume 2 from AARO. That's going to be big, because that's what's supposed to have like more data more scientific data, what they're thinking about with gimbal, the Tic Tac video. We're supposed to get actually Arrow's takes on these through their scientific discussion or testing. So that's big. Hopefully we hear about that. I'm sure we will. I'm sure we'll probably get at least a roundabout date when we'll be able to kind of look at that report and break it down. So yeah, this is interesting. We're not going to get like testimonies or anything like that. I think it's going to be kind of standard, but it should still be interesting. But the reason why I kind of jumped to that first is because this was also a post from Dede and Johnson that I thought was a pretty interesting gig here too. Okay. So it says, this is from Matt Laszlo. Johnson's posting this, but this is via Matt Laszlo Ask a Poll. Go drop these guys a follow, man. They're really killing it. Senator Gillibrand, but of note, the two whistleblowers, this is what she's saying. But of note, the two whistleblowers that I've met with did not meet with Arrow and refused to meet with Arrow. And so maybe the next Arrow director they'll meet with, the next Arrow, and so maybe the next Arrow director they'll meet with. Okay. But I can't assess them unless Arrow can talk to them, because Arrow knows what they know and what they've seen and what they've been shown. Okay. Then Matt Laszlo asked, have you met with David Grush yet? Gillibrand says, no, we've invited him to come, and I was supposed to meet with him and Dr. Kirkpatrick together, but they ultimately declined that meeting. So that to me is also really interesting, because I didn't think about that. Obviously we know that Grush and obviously Grush never wanted to meet with Arrow because of Kirkpatrick. That was pretty clear. We even had those text messages that came out through FOIA, through the signal, through FOIA, that said that Kirkpatrick and Grush had bad blood all the way back to 2015. Okay. So it would be interesting to see if Grush will finally now go meet with John Kozlowski. Hope he will. Go talk to him, man. Go see what's going on. I mean, we already know that Christopher Mellon has been speaking the praises of Kozlowski. So this is supposed to be the new guy, the second coming. I'm going to hold back my judgment on that. You got to show me something. I'm not just going to jump on board with that right away. But this is interesting. So we should have some more news coming out from Arrow, from a lot of these whistleblowers, quote unquote, because, got to bring some evidence, man. But we'll probably get more from that, because we are getting the new director, and we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll go in and be more apt to go ahead and talk about it. So there is still some things coming from Arrow, man. Even though Arrow's been a shit show, man, it has been, without a doubt. Hasn't been perfect by any standard. But there still seems to be maybe some juice that we're going to be able to squeeze out of it at that point, okay? So I thought that was interesting. I thought that was a little interesting thing to bring up for you here, okay? A couple other things that bothered me this week, because when we start talking about Elizondo not going to the hearings, right? What do we really want? What is a best foot forward situation? I answered this question last night in a space, and the couple of people that I want to just throw out a reminder for everybody on are what we're going to go over here. But there was one of these people, one of these two, technically three in total that I really want there. But one of the three is this guy right here, James Lukatsky. Okay. He ran OSAP, blah, 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 blah. Okay. The irritating thing about this is we get this interview that comes out a couple of days ago from, I believe this is exomagazine.tv. And I think Robert Fleischer is this guy who's interviewing him. But Lukatsky says something that more than pissed me off. And Red Panic Walla can attest to that, because I came into a space after this clip got posted, and I was pretty upset. So let's listen to a little bit of this clip, and then we'll assess.
Could you imagine, or you, Dr. Kelleher, could you imagine going there to testify before Congress? Because both of you obviously seem to know much more than what you're allowed to say in the book.
By the way, take a second and look what Colm Kelleher does here with his tongue, dude. He looks like, who was the guy in Harry Potter? Barty Crouch. Remember that? Moves the tongue like that? He does a little Barty Crouch here. Did he drinks apologies potion here and somebody's taking over Colm Kelleher? It's not him. I digress. Go ahead. Look, watch the tongue, though.
Going there to testify before Congress, because both of you obviously seem to know much more than what you're allowed to say in the book, also regarding potential crash recovery projects going on.
Ooh.
I personally would not be in favor of testifying.
Look at Jim.
Because I believe that the these agreements that I signed, the non-disclosure agreements that I signed, both at the corporate level and at the government level, preclude me from doing that. And there's been a lot of talk in DC and the Congress with respect to the congressional hearings that quote unquote protections are being offered. The fact is that if you violate a non-disclosure agreement, you are at the mercy of the consequences of violating those agreements, regardless of all of the talk regarding protection of whistleblowers. The next congressional hearing is scheduled currently for November 13th. It is being chaired by Nancy Mace, and there will be Congressman Tim Burchett and Congressman Anna Paulina Luna.
Okay, so I'm going to pause here because he's going to give us stuff that we've already went over. But Colm Keller, he's out. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to go talk. He wants to talk on the podcast. They want to write books, Dino Beavers and the such. Okay, they don't want to go talk to Congress. So for me, I've probably heard everything that I'm ever gonna get out of Colm Keller. So I don't know how much. If he's not going to tell us what he knows here, and he's not going to tell us, he's not going to testify to it to Congress to try to push things along, then I don't really know what's left for Colm Keller. Now, Colm Keller saying this is not as irritating to me as James Lukatsky, though. His response really bothers me for a couple of reasons, and we're going to go over this, okay? I want to make sure I get him right where I need here. Uh-oh, they're trying to get after my internet here. Look at them. See, they're mad at me. Mad at me here. Let me just refresh the page. I'll refresh it, and then we'll grab it again. All right? That usually fixes it. I scroll my mouse.
Be Congress and testify.
I completely agree with what Colm says. For me, it would have to be in a compartment. Kona Blue would have to be reactivated by DHS.
Let's pause right there for a second, okay? Kona Blue would have to be reactivated by DHS. Kona Blue, Jim, was never activated. This is kind of like a little bit of a side thing that Jim's been going off on lately. He brought up Kona Blue again a few weeks ago after Lue's book came out. He was talking about Kona Blue again as if the program existed, which we know that the program didn't exist. It was never stood up. So that's a side note. That kind of makes me question what's going on with Jim. But we'll continue. I just wanted to point that out because that's a really crazy statement. He keeps bringing this Kona Blue stuff up. It's like, give it a rest. It wasn't a thing.
I would have to have, remember, I retired in 2016. I would have to have my SCI, top secret SCI clearance reinstated. I would need all these things to occur. As for open testimony, the answer is no. And that's what surprises me, because to say it more particularly what Colm has said, when you get a clearance from these organizations, DIA adjudicates TSSCI here for DOD employees.
Okay, that's great, Jim. But here's the problem. Here's what I don't like. And he just continues on with my NDAs. I need a skiff. I need this and that. Okay. I didn't pull the clip, but if you guys remember on Corbell's podcast that he did with James Lukatsky back in the day there, I don't know. It was earlier. I mean, was it last year? I think it might have been later last year or maybe mid last year. And then he was talking to James when he was first coming out, right? Kind of stepping on the scene, taking interviews or whatever. And he mentions that they were able to access the inside of a UAP, of a craft. They were able to gain access to the inside. Now, gain access to the inside could mean a million things. Now, to me, does that mean that he was inside, he was walking around, he was playing with the switches or whatever? No. They could have, if we believe it to be true, they could have breached the hull in a way where maybe they could, put a snake cam in and kind of look around. But I know Jesse Michaels was claiming that, Jim had actually stepped into the craft on his latest Elizondo interview that he did, which I was like, man, when I was watching, I was like, come on, Jesse, he didn't say that. Gaining access to the inside, that could mean a million things. Let's not go too far. Like, let's not make things up. Okay. However, whichever way he was able to gain access, if that is true, and he was able to say that on Weaponized, Jeremy Corbell's podcast, he doesn't need a skiff for that. He doesn't need TSSCI. He doesn't need all those clearances back. He doesn't need that. He can go right down and sit in front of Tim Burchett and say, we were able to gain access to the inside. These things are real. Why not? Explain to me why not. And the other part that irritated me about this too is because if you remember back, David Grush, when he was on Joe Rogan, he gave us a bit more of a deeper look into really what was going on with OSAP. And a lot of the reason why OSAP was created was because Lockheed Martin had wanted to divest itself of a UAP craft. I hate saying UAP, but UFO, okay? Whenever I talk about like these OSAP era and everything, I always say UAP, but I hate it. But the point is that Lockheed was supposed to be to divest the craft to them, and that was what the $22 million was supposed to go to, okay? Now, if David Grush is talking about that, if he's naming Lockheed and he's telling you that this was the story, and that was what OSAP's whole point was, and James Lukatsky was the head of OSAP, that to me ain't classified, brother. Why don't Jim, I know you'll never watch my show, but in case somehow you do, go down and say that. Unless it's not true and you don't want to go perjure yourself, that's a different story. But if it's there and that's something that you have an opportunity to go and kind of pull the cover off of, that'd be great. That'd be what we'd need. We don't need Lue Elizondo and Romania photos. We don't need Lue Elizondo sitting in front of Congress and saying, well, you know, if you found a 747 in King Tut's tomb, doesn't fit the timeline. Like, that doesn't help. Like, we need firsthand people. We at least need people in the positions to where they, at least at the very least, had actual potential to get involved in some kind of a legacy program access. And there, in my opinion, there's only a few people that are at the top of the list that could have been in that situation. And if we take Jim Lukatsky at face value here and what he's been saying, he'd be one of the people that I think maybe he does have access. Because if he was talking to Lockheed, if that is real, he would have some serious access. Him, Hal Puthoff, you know, these are top people. Obviously, General McCaslin was big. I'd love to have McCaslin at the hearing, but that's another thing. But this irritated me. He has things he could go say. And I think he needs to get on a plane or whatever. He needs to, you know, take his butt on over to Congress and go say that. The next guy, just going along with our flow here today, Carl Nell. Okay, Carl Nell, we've talked about him before on the episode. It's called What the Nell, or Where the Nell, or something like that. It was really funny. But this is another person that needs to be there. I'm hoping that someone like him is going to be there, not because I believe what he's saying is true and I believe, but if you're talking about people that you want to send and you look at their backgrounds, this guy's got to be up there on the top of the list. Lockheed Martin Association, okay, Bell Lab Association, Wright-Patterson Air Force Association. This is the guy, okay? And then when you look at those associations and then you look at what he's saying, as we're about to listen to here, you understand. This is somebody you'd want there.
Said, and Ross alluded, progress on this topic would not be possible without the support and grassroots efforts of the folks that are participating in this chat and the folks that are in your guys' orbit. And so what actually is this topic, right? And Ross and Lou also have alluded to this. Non-human intelligence exists. Non-human intelligence has been interacting with humanity on this planet. This interaction is ongoing and it's not new.
Okay, it's ongoing and it's not new. Now, could he be lying? Of course. Of course. But when you look at the background, I want him, if he's going to lie, go in front of Congress and lie. Or, because we can out the situation, right? Or go there and break the whole thing wide open. If you've got some firsthand knowledge, break the whole thing wide open. Okay? That's what I want. I want to, if there's even a 1% chance for Congress, these are the people that I would assume would have the best opportunity to bring something forward. I mean, you know, you can look at the whole topic and say everybody's lying, and I understand you can't trust everybody, and I understand this situation with Jaime Shed and the guy from Canada. I can't think of him off the top of my head right now, the name of him. Paul Hellyer. You know, these guys believe in Galactic Federation. I know that there's stuff behind it that's like that, that's iffy with these guys, but still, who else do we have? Grush is MIA completely. Who else is there? Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, the next thing kind of in the vein as far as what does interaction mean? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, what we've interacted, what he's saying. Yeah. I don't know what he means by it, but I'd like him to go talk about it to get some more detail when it comes down to it. We heard a lot of rumors that the UAPDA was completely deaded. I mean, it did get absolutely passed over a month or so ago. But there's always like this deliberation time that can come later in the year between the House and the Senate. And some people, and even Lester Nair, who's right here on this video here, we're going to take a look at. We just concluded our UAP Hill day with UAP Caucus in collaboration with Declassify UAP. Okay, so they're still down there talking. They're still trying to push this thing forward. And what it is, if they can bring it up to a vote later on in the year, maybe in December, they kind of call it what's called airdrop. Like they try to airdrop this amendment in, that there still may be a chance. I don't think there's a chance, okay? But this is, I at least wanted to give you guys a look at what someone like Lester Nair is saying, someone who is down there talking to people. This is the at least the conversation that is going on. You know, is it real going to happen or not? It's up to you. But this is what they're saying.
Days talking to over a dozen offices here in Washington, D.C., both on the House and the Senate side, not only about the UAP Disclosure Act of 2024.
So that's what he's saying. House and Senate, they're down there talking UFO Disclosure Act of 2024. So that's the big giveaway there, that's what they're going. It sounds like they're trying to get into that,
which is currently
trying to do the airdrop kind of thing.
Under negotiation in the Senate, but also the Safe Airspace for Americans Act and the general posture that members of Congress have towards the UAP subject. One thing that I can say from every single one of our meetings,
I don't know what the collage of all the photos of the people is. I don't know what that's all about. I mean, I know that's Nick Gold in the photo. This guy here, Declassify UAP. I know that's him, but like, I don't really know why they're doing. I don't know. I guess he's just trying to show off the people that are involved or what have you. But it's just,
especially from those who are focused on national security and foreign policy, is that they take the issue deadly seriously. And they are much more sophisticated about the details than is being signaled publicly. There is a real understanding about the magnitude of the issue, what aspects that Congress needs to focus on, and plans moving forward of how to adjudicate the problem. We were very impressed and gracious for the time the offices gave to us, and there's certainly going to be more movement out of both the House and the Senate as it pertains to the UAP subject.
Okay, so he's saying there's going to be more movement, right? Now, he could also be referring to like next year, also at the very end there, because like I said before, he even said it doesn't look likely for them to do an airdrop scenario. The UAPDA is pretty much toasted. It's toasted. In my opinion, it's toasted. But I at least want to bring this to you guys, let you know this is what they're saying. You know, take it as you will. Hey, Lil Pop Tart was in the chat here. Here he is. He's got his thing. We use this post here. Shout out to Lil Pop Tart. I don't know if how much of this that we can play the audio of. You know what? I'm going to skip the audio of it just in case there ends up being an issue with it. But Third Phase of Moon has got a new documentary they're producing coming out with Dr. Stephen Greer. It's called Battle for Disclosure. It's going to come out 12/10/2024. Let a little bit of this run here for you. I'm just really afraid to use a lot of the audio and stuff on this, man. I think it'll probably get nicked. But as you can see, these are a lot of these whistleblowers that Greer had come out. Shout out to Michael Stratt right here in the trailer. But yeah, Battle for Disclosure. We have another new documentary. So it's not just James Fox that's coming out, which, by the way, as you guys are watching this here on the side, since there's no audio, I heard that there's an issue with someone in James Fox's family, like someone's ill or something like that, and it's taken a lot of his time. And so a lot of this the documentary, the business that he's been trying to get this thing going and get it out, has slowed down drastically, at least for the moment. So thoughts and prayers you can send out to them, man. Anybody in his family, man. You never want to hear people are doing bad. You know, you always want to hear people are doing good. So it's not just one. You got a couple of these documentaries that are coming out. I like seeing Michael Stratt in it, man. I like Michael. Dude, he's got some. If you want to have somebody break down crash retrieval programs for you, he's the dude. He's the dude. He's got all the knowledge on it for sure. We'll go ahead and give him a little check out too. Oh, Billy Carson. Uh oh, Billy. Got to be a little more skeptical. Oh, look at even Trump and Kamala are getting a little shout out. So Michael Herrera, this guy here, he was talking about how, you know, they destroyed his father's business and the family and everything. So that's there. So this is coming out December 10th. The popcorn and emojis and everything like that. So shout out to Third Phase and all of them. Now, if you're a big Stephen Greer fan, okay, big fan, got some good news for you. Okay, for the first time ever, CE5 on the ocean. Okay, if you want to go do CE5 on the ocean, Under the Stars out in the ocean with Dr. Greer and his team. I can't lie, this is a little cheesy, guys. This is a little cheesy, right? Dr. Stephen Greer on the celebrity cruise for 6 nights, including 4 nights under the stars, making ET contact in the Caribbean. 2 full days, including morning and afternoon sessions on remote viewing, the science of consciousness, how to form groups, CE5 photography, updates on disclosure, the purpose of CE5, and more. You know, the ufology cruise thing's been kind of a bigger deal lately. I think Grant Cameron was like on a ufology cruise earlier, like a couple months ago or something like that. But yeah, look, you know, if that's something you want to go do, you want to go hang out with Greer and do some CE5 and talk about the movie, about the trailer. I don't know exactly when is the date for this. I don't know. I don't know the exact date for it. I figured it would have been on the flyer here at this point, but it's not. But this is something that's coming. I mean, look, I'm not telling you you're going to get disclosure on this. I'm not selling you disclosure. I'm not doing all that. I'm just simply, you know, hey, this is here for you if you're interested. We're kind of getting into more of the fun stuff here at the end here before we start jumping into the quantum computing AI clips that we got. And we got a good amount of clips here for you guys today. Now, this absolutely tickled me when I seen this video of Bob Lazar, dude. Okay. Look at Bob. All right. I don't know if you guys can see this because I don't know if I'll actually be able to zoom in enough for you to really be able to see it. But Bob is wearing a sweatshirt that says EG&G on it. It says EG&G on the sweatshirt. Bob, what are you doing with the EG&G sweatshirt? Okay. Look, I know he was at Los Alamos. Okay. So technically he can probably wear the EG&G sweatshirt, but why is he wearing the EG&G sweatshirt? Okay. He's wearing the EG&G sweatshirt because he's trying to say that I was out there at S4, man. Okay. That I was hired. I went through and I did my interviews out there. It's just funny. I think this is like, you guys know how I feel about Bob. I think Bob's a storyteller. I think John Lear and him put that story together and it's been going on forever. But I just, man, when I seen him wearing that EG&G, I laughed fell on my chair laughing. It just tickled me to death, dude. So this is, I'm assuming, something from what Area 52 investigations, Bob Lazar, new evidence, the EG&G, dude. I can't. Yeah, this is all about his new project he's got coming out called Project Gravatar. Okay, so this is some clips from that. And the reason why they're doing the virtual reality for it is because this Project Gravatar is supposed to be a VR experience. So you're actually supposed to be able to walk around the hangar where he was, walk through the craft, I believe, too. I'm just scrubbing through some of this for you guys. There's the craft right there. They've been designing it. Look, it is cool. Like there's no doubt about it. What they're doing is cool. I just don't believe Bob was in an alien spacecraft, but yeah, but that was the fun thing for me this week, as I seen that. I just laughed my ass off. And then also, this is really, really good. So Grider, he's a kind of a popular guy, I guess, on UFO Twitter in the spaces. He's pretty popular. He's got some good research that he's done. He knows a lot about the topic, but he posted this chandelier photo, or this AI generation of what this would really be if it was actually a mothership flying around. This is pretty funny. Look at this. This is great. This is terrific, man. This is great content right here. 10 out of 10. I think I commented 10 out of 10 on this too. This is absolutely hilarious. I don't think there's any audio with it, but yeah, there you go. There's the chandelier heard around the world. Okay, that's funny. And then lastly, this was great. This is a little bit of a funny here. This is how Lue Elizondo got the chandelier photo. It was Kirkpatrick, guys, the whole damn time. Kirkpatrick the whole time. Dude, he's taking a picture. AI is getting out of control. It's getting out of control, ain't it? That looks a lot like him. They're missing like the well, I guess I don't know. I guess he's got a chain that he wears too and everything, right? Got the glasses, no glasses on him. They still got the chainlet there. I think he usually wears a watch over there too, but yeah, the AI is getting out of control. So that's the funny stuff. That was the stuff that I took from ufology over the last 2 weeks. Okay. This is what I thought was the big stuff. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of this stuff, but I want to make sure that I can, give my take on it, man. I want to get my take out there. I've been in spaces more, really the last 3 months, man. I've been doing more spaces. Mainly a lot of it's because like I've been out I was out walking so much, man. And there was a lot of times where I just didn't really want to listen to music, or I didn't want to, something just fell down back there. I didn't want to listen to music. I wanted to be more involved with something, kind of get my head involved, because I was just kind of getting bored. I was just walking the same loop all the time. I mean, so it was just something I could do, but the spaces are a lot of fun. And look, there's going to be more spaces for me hosting a little bit later on, maybe the end of next month and through December. We're going to do some more of that and see what's happening with YouTube. The YouTube thing this has been fun, but I don't know. I'm getting to the point where I'm wanting to expand creatively. I want to kind of do something else in that process. I'm not saying I'm never going to touch YouTube ever again, but from the looks of things going forward, YouTube is going to slow down on terrestrial material. Definitely during the holidays too, because it definitely takes a lot of time to get out here and put these shows together and do a lot of this stuff for you guys. But there will be a break with that. And I do want to kind of switch over and start hosting more spaces, because I'll be honest with you guys. I like the whole feel of radio. I like the radio feel. I know I'm kind of tangenting here before we get into the AI stuff, but I didn't want to do this at the very end, because if they're, who's here hanging out, most of the people that at this point are always here. So at least want to kind of give you guys a good heads up that, if you haven't followed on Twitter, right underneath here at Terrestrial Material, follow that, because there's going to be a lot of content from me that's going to go over to that area. I kind of want to have that radio vibe. I want to have that radio vibe, and that's what's going to be able to do it for me. But there will be, as I'm planning, a couple different versions of Twitter Spaces that I kind of want to do. I want to do like terrestrial, one I want to call terrestrial radio, which is like this show here. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of being on camera. Not because of like my identity or anything like that. I've never been a fan of doing the lighting. I've always been a behind the camera guy, like editor guy, hold the camera, but a lot of the early parts of Terrestrial Material, a lot of the early parts of the show, it was mainly supposed to be like a back and forth conversation with me and French. And he's had some stuff that's been keeping him busy. And so it hasn't been, consistent with a lot of that stuff. So I started obviously doing the news and kind of going through this stuff, but I want more of a bit of a radio vibe, and I want to give that a shot. I want to give it a try and do some more of that stuff and see if you guys end up enjoying that a little bit down the road. So, and maybe I can just stream that stuff to YouTube at the same time, if you guys still would rather watch it or listen to it on this platform. But I want to do like the terrestrial radio, which is more of me going over the news solo, maybe an hour and a half, kind of giving my thoughts, and then bringing people up to comment if they want to. And then also doing what we did a couple of times already, which is terrestrial tangents, where open the spaces and it's just free reign. I'll bring in some topics and everybody can just riff, skeptics, believers, all those sides. So it's just, you're not going to get less of me. It's just going to be in different positions, and you probably honestly will get more through that Twitter side. So this is just a heads up. This is something that I'm looking at doing. Okay. And looking at moving forward on. So that is, I think, going to be the end of the Twitter bookmarks and kind of what news for the week. Now, I did tease that I was watching these 2 YouTube videos. Okay. And like I said, I think the links are in the description down below, and that way you guys can go follow along with these and go watch them a little bit later, because I got, I think, 4 clips from the quantum computing one and then 6 clips from the AI one. So if you've heard me at all, I haven't talked about it too much on this channel because we usually just go over the news, not really a whole lot of my thoughts. That's another reason why I kind of want to mix the format up a little bit. But I have more of this opinion that when you look at the phenomena, that you can still have aliens involved and you can still have crypto-terrestrials involved. But when I think like the more grounded approach to this at this point is that it's something from maybe at least a large part of this phenomena is us from the future. That, and a lot of people might say, oh, dude, that's crazy. Us from the future. You know, how the hell would we even do that? You know, we haven't even figured out, you know, gravity in a mainstream attempt yet. There's people that think that even though there's legacy programs that we still haven't even cracked gravity. I think we have. I think we have been able to deal with gravity. I think that the TikTok and stuff like that is our tech. I think we do. But I think that that a lot of that could come from crashes, but not necessarily crashes from other galaxies. You know, other places in the universe. Getting here is very, very difficult. So when I look at gravity, I start to think, well, if you can manipulate gravity, you can manipulate time. Okay. And you got to be able to figure out the physics of how that works. That's what everybody seems to be doing, right? They want to figure out how gravity works. We want to increase our knowledge of propulsion, and we want to get these new things, get us off fossil fuels, all the million reasons you hear about this. Okay. And so I start to ask myself, well, if it's future humans, if we end up figuring it out, how could we have done that in a reasonable time frame? Or where would that come from? Because we don't seem like we're even close on our own. I mean, I don't see it anywhere that we're even close to figuring out how a lot of these anti-gravitic crafts work, how they're moving, all of this stuff. So you look at something like quantum computing, okay? It's very, very powerful computer, right? And then you take a look at something like AI, okay? And the way that quantum computing processes information, and we're going to watch these clips and they're going to go over some of it. It's very cool. Just want to give a little bit of a pre here for you guys. How that would interact with something that was like a very advanced AI, giving it that power to just be instantly calculating, instantly figuring out, and developing, okay? We know that these AIs are learning our own physics right now. We know that they're getting better and they're learning on their own. So when you give it that extra power from these quantum computers, where is that going to go? You know, is that something to where it can crack gravity for us? It figures it out. It does the physics. It learns it and figures it out through the calculations. That's big to me. I think that there's a real good chance that that's possible, and it's in a relatively near future. Call me crazy, but I think when we look at these clips, you might agree at least a little bit that I'm on a track that seems to make some maybe somewhat more sense than maybe you've considered before. Okay, that's the whole point of this. Very cool. Let's get to the first clip. I've spoke enough. Right? I hope we don't get killed on these clips, but we might. Okay. Make sure the sound is up for you guys. I don't want to blow your eardrums, but I don't want you to not be able to hear it.
Hidden amongst these snow-covered hills is a secretive institution. Home to a revolutionary machine that can harness physics so strange, it sounds like magic.
This is IBM's research facility. It's where some of the biggest breakthroughs in the history of computer science have happened. And probably going to be home to a few more, because this is where they build quantum computers.
Look at this IBM building, man. This is wild. I don't think it's as big as the Apple one. Maybe the big round Apple one's bigger, but this is huge. Look at this place. This looks like a Bond villain, like Mega Mansions.
Their potential is huge, promising breakthroughs in material science, medicine, fundamental physics, and more.
Okay, so these are these quantum computers, man. They're housed in these areas here. This is what they're developing. IBM is. And it's not just IBM, as we'll go over a little bit later, especially when we start looking at the AI stuff. But this is a really big deal right now, okay? This is a really big deal. So go back to what she said. Just want to jump back a little bit here to what she was saying.
Biggest breakthroughs in the history of computer science have happened, and probably going to be home to a few more, because this is where they build quantum computers.
Their potential is huge, promising breakthroughs in material science, medicine, fundamental physics.
Material science, medicine, and fundamental physics. Fundamental physics.
And more.
And more, okay? Fundamental physics, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the scope of what we're looking at, what they're trying to do here, okay? Now, she's going to explain a little bit more here. This is like 1:20. Some of these clips are, I think the longest ones are like 1.5 minutes, something like that. But these are cool, man. I was blown away at how interesting these were.
Standard computers, they calculate by using billions of tiny little on and off switches known as bits. Now, these things, they're very reliable, they're very accurate, and they work together in sequence. So, if you ask a standard computer to solve a maze, it will do so by checking through every possible path one by one until it finds a solution. Now, depending on the size of the maze, that could take seconds or minutes, or potentially, for a really big maze, even years. A quantum computer, on the other hand, works a little bit differently. There, the bits are known as quantum bits, or qubits, and rather than just being on or off, a qubit can be held in something called a superposition, where it can be both on and off at the same time.
And that allows it to do some really, really interesting stuff here. She's going to go, I got to kind of pause it a little bit, you know. They're going to kill us all, right?
Now, okay, I know that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but unfortunately that is just how physics works down at the atomic level, so go with me. This bizarre ability of a qubit to be in two states at once means that a series of qubits can solve lots of calculations simultaneously. And so, if you ask a quantum computer to solve a maze, it means it can consider all possible routes at once, giving you the answer in an instant.
All the possible results in an instant. So imagine a very, very powerful AI. Okay. It's understanding physics. It's got questions about physics as it's learning. It can answer all of its questions powered off of something like that and figure it out. Now, I'm not an expert at this stuff at all with the AI and the quantum computing. That's just the super layman's. When I hear this and I start thinking about this, this makes sense. It never has to eat, it never has to sleep, and it can run all these assessments constantly. Boom, 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 boom. And it's only going to develop and get stronger and get stronger. Very interesting. Very interesting for me. Next clip.
Hardware.
So you'll see as this is building, where kind of my head is at that. So let's take a look at what this quantum computer really is. The reason why I wanted to show this is because a lot of people don't really know like what these look like, and when they do see them, they think that they're one thing, but they're not. So this is pretty interesting here.
Where we can see the guts of the machine.
Oh, that is extraordinary. This is what System 2 looks like inside?
Yeah.
What are we looking at then?
I think a lot of people have a slight misconception and they see, you know, this whole gold shiny thing and they think this is a quantum computer. That's actually not true. This is the quantum computer.
Yeah, it's this chip. Yeah, I thought this was too for like a really long time, man. I posted that one picture and people were like asking me, hey, what is that? You know, what is that thing? Is that the whole quantum computer? No, it's not. This is, well, I'll let her go into it, but I'm just saying that's not the computer. It is the chip.
So this tiny little thing, right? This is the Heron chip. This is the 133 qubits that I am holding in the palm of my hand.
I'll also say this too. Sorry, I got to pause it here. The qubits thing is interesting because didn't they measure back in the day, back in, you know, ancient times, it was qubits were a form of measurement. I think in the Bible even it talks about like, what was his name? Goliath being what, like 9 cubits or something like that, how tall he was. It's just interesting that it's the same word. Probably doesn't really mean anything. I just find that that word being interchanged this way is kind of a little interesting little tidbit.
How much is that worth?
A lot.
Don't drop it.
I'm going to try not to.
The chip contains the qubits that carry out the computation, and it's fair to say they're a little fussy.
We're trying to change the energy state of the qubit between 0 and 1 in a very controlled way. So any type of outside energy that might change it slightly in a way, except for what we're trying to do, will break your algorithm and give you the wrong answer.
Outside energy includes any heat. To preserve the delicate quantum state of the qubit,
That thing looks
the
awesome,
chip
by the way.
must
It's
be kept
crazy.
extremely cold. This tangle of gold-plated pipes and wires is in fact a cooling system that chills the chip to just above absolute zero.
For comparison, the cosmic microwave background in space is way warmer. That's orders of magnitude warmer.
Oh my goodness.
So it is the coldest thing in the known universe.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. So they are active. Man, she's young, huh? She's really in there doing it, man. I give her credit. How many billions of dollars is that chip worth? How many billions is that thing worth, man? I'd be so nervous to hold that thing like that. Oh my God. I wouldn't even want to hold it. If they were like, hey, do you want to hold it? Nah, I'm good. I don't want to hold that. Last clip here, minute and 30 seconds on this one. This is pretty cool too. Like I said, just a reminder for anyone that's just jumping in, the links for these two videos that I'm pulling the clips from that we're going over for the quantum computing stuff and the AI stuff should be in the description. If it's not, I will get it in there at the very end, but this is a cool clip too.
IBM say they'll unlock quantum's full potential by 2033.
So 2033, they feel that they're going to have the full potential. They're going to have the quantum computer ready to go 2033. Pretty interesting. That's not that far, man. It's really not that far. And depending on, the breakthrough that they get, it could be sooner. It could be longer. But I mean, 2033, that sounds soon.
As you can imagine, it's been an expensive endeavor.
Do you have any idea how much IBM will have spent on this quantum program?
We haven't broken out, but I think it's fair to say it's like obviously many billions of dollars of investment. Our company spends close to $7 billion a year in R&D, right? And today in our world,
and that's just them. That's just IBM.
Of technology, if you're not investing at that scale, it's very hard to be a global leader.
But you do have competition, right? How much are you looking over your shoulder at what everyone else is doing?
We pay keen attention, right, to the entire ecosystem. But look, we take the perspective, because we've been sort of leaders and pioneers of this field, is that we want an industry. Like, we don't want to be, alone on this.
How much do you
until you figure it out
with other companies there, like Google and Microsoft, who are also in this space?
We collaborate a lot externally. For us, collaborating on this is like at the heart of making an ecosystem. It's back to the idea of creating an industry.
Do you collaborate with Chinese companies as well?
No, we do not.
Oh, go on.
Well, I think we acknowledge the fact that in this technology, in quantum, right? But we're seeing it happen, by the way, in other areas like semiconductors and so on. There is not only a big economic dimension, but there's a big national security implication as well.
Bingo.
Quantum falls squarely within the category of like sensitive technologies from that perspective.
Of course it would. Now I know that he's probably referencing more to the encryption situation. They're worried about, encryption being broken by quantum computers and, them getting the bank data and getting more of our data. I think that's more what he's leaning towards. But at the same time, what does this tell you? I mean, they're spending billions of dollars. Billions. Like, this is not like a flash in the pan tech that they're just kind of working on the side. These guys think this is the flat out, I almost swore right there, the flat out future. It is big. Big money. Everybody's rushing for it. And to be quite honest with you, China's spending way more money than we are too. It's crazy. So it's really, really wild to see that there aren't, obviously the national security implications are there, but I just really wanted to hammer home because I've heard people, dude, I've heard people in spaces. I see people on the internet kind of like, this is not really that big of a deal. It's so far, It's like, no, man, you really got to pay attention. This is powerful tech, especially when we combine it with something like an AGI situation. So that's what I want to go over next, okay? So these next 6 clips are from the same channel. It's another episode, but this, I think, starts to kind of meld together, maybe give you a better feel of why I think this is what's really going on here, okay?
It's about superhuman AI that could...
So she's going to talk about the AI here. I think the Volumes probably stays at the same point. Okay, this is pretty interesting.
It's about superhuman AI that could take over the world and instead threaten our existence. That warning hasn't stopped companies like Meta, Google, and OpenAI. They're trying to build computers that surpass human intelligence in every domain. They claim it will solve our most difficult problems and invent technologies that our feeble minds cannot even conceive of. I'm Professor Hannah Fry, mathematician.
It's Hannah Fry. Yeah, thank you very much, Hannah. That's what I'm saying. Like, and here's the other interesting thing that they don't mention in this, but Google has actually they're putting together a plan for a nuclear power plant to run their AI. And the reason why I bring this up is because this is the plan. They're trying to merge the quantum computing with the AI. They're making them at the exact same time. If you think that they're not going to do that, and like she said, they're trying to figure out our most difficult problems. Gravity is a hell of a problem. Propulsion's a hell of a problem. That's why I think you have the same companies that are doing both at the same time, man. They're trying to get in there. They're trying to get in there. Pretty interesting deal. So that kind of shows that. Second clip here. We'll pull it up.
Companies like OpenAI and DeepMind are trying to do is to create something known as artificial general intelligence, a machine that will outperform humans at everything.
These sort of human level AI systems that are very general purpose, that's always been the holy grail really of AI research. I think we are getting pretty close now.
The tech giants are spending billions of dollars on general AI each year, all to try and pin down and replicate something that most of us take for granted: a broad, capable, human-like intelligence.
So you can say Skynet, you can say iRobot, you can say all of these things. The other thing I thought was interesting when I watched this is I love this new theory that I heard a few months ago. And this guy, I can't remember his name, but he dropped this theory where he said, what if the phenomena that we're seeing, it is all AI, and it's an AI that has left the other planet, like a planet somewhere else. They decided for whatever reason, didn't want to deal with the humans anymore. It was far surpassed them. We were kind of just dead weight. Maybe it didn't kill us, but it decided to just go off into the cosmos and maybe find something that was worthy, essentially worthy. And that's what we're running into. I mean, how often do we hear things about the Greys being robots, being, AI robots, remote control robots, essentially, right? That's interesting. Because if you were an AI and you were really smart and you wanted to engage with whatever you were there, maybe they realized that we were obviously a life form of some kind. We're probably very different than the life form that it left, but it still looks at us and sees that we're a life form. And it understands that to interact with us, it's got to be somewhat looking like us, but it probably, for whatever reason, they don't make it exactly. They make it this gray guy, but they still want some interaction that doesn't look like Vicky, I guess, from iRobot. It's not just a cube that's coming down and taking people. But I don't know. It's a very cool idea. I don't know if that's what's going on, but it's a great theory. It's a theory without a doubt. Yeah, we just went through that clip. Okay, that was clip 2 there. Let's get into clip 3 here.
Chatbots are in.
Okay, so now what they're doing is they're in this lab area with these couple of guys. And they're showing off how the AI is acting. They're going to be talking about kind of how it's learning on its own and how it's developing. It's just really, really interesting here. And I think this is the clip. Let me just double check. Yes. Okay. When we get to the second part right here, this is where it's going to be big when she sits down with this interview with this guy. Okay. You listen to the first damn thing that they talk about with how AI and the development is going to start working with. This is crazy.
Bots are impressive.
This blew me away.
Models on their own might not be enough to reach super intelligence. Sergey Levin and his PhD student Kevin Black say it might only be done.
PhDs, they're young as shit.
A body,
totally impressive.
A way to
That's great.
Physically interact with the world. Put the green spoon on the towel. Here we go. This robot might not look cutting edge, but unlike the slick robots on factory floors which follow precise choreography, this one learns every action for itself.
Boom.
That's basically perfect.
Yeah.
So what difference does having a body actually make then to the way that we learn?
You ask a language model to describe what happens when you drop an object, it'll say, okay, the object falls. But understanding what it really means for that object to fall, the effect it has on the state of the world, that's something that becomes much more immediate when you actually experience it.
ChatGPT doesn't understand gravity, but your robot does.
Well, ChatGPT can guess what gravity is based on people's descriptions of it, but it's a reflection of a reflection. Whereas if you actually experience it, then you get it right from the source.
Give me a fucking break. I'm going to swear. I don't care. Give me a break, dude. When she sits down and starts talking to this guy about this, the first thing they talk about is gravity. Give me a break, man. Come on. Come on. This is what these guys are doing, man. This is what these guys are doing. They know that this AI is going to get better. They're doing everything. They're pouring money. These guys are PhDs, ballers, dude. Really smart people, right? This is all that they're doing every day, is they're trying to develop AI that can also think for itself and learn on its own. And then when you go up to that guy who's doing that, first thing he wants to talk to you about is gravity. Wow. If that doesn't blow your mind, dude, I don't know. I don't know what does. Like that, when I was laying in bed, dude, I was like, I sat up, man. And you guys know how my back has been lately. It was not a comfortable sit up, but I was like, damn, dude, that's so crazy that's what they're talking about. That's what they're working with and dealing with. Really wild stuff.
But it's these very...
Okay. Now this clip's kind of interesting because we're talking more about, I guess, the risks with it, but at the exact same time, I think it really gives everyone, it drives the point home that this is not something that is going to be a flash in the pan, that we are going full bore. And it's really, really interesting. Let's listen to this guy talk about this.
But it's these very properties and their potential repercussions that have many people in the field worried.
I'm worried.
Just across the hall from Sergey is Professor Stuart Russell, a research pioneer who quite literally wrote the textbook on AI. He's now one of the most vocal researchers sharing concerns about...
Not exactly a lightweight, huh? Not exactly. This guy probably knows a little bit what he's talking about.
The future.
If we make machines that are more powerful than us because they're more intelligent than we are, it's not going to be easy to retain power over them forever.
How might your concerns play out?
There's this idea of what's called misalignment. And this is the idea that the machine is pursuing an objective and it's not aligned with what we really want. If we're going to put a purpose into a machine, we better make sure that it's the purpose we really desire. You know, let's fix the problem of climate change. Okay, well, what causes climate change? People,
Yeah.
right? So, easy way to do that, get rid of all the people, right? Problem solved.
Or you just decide to hell with the planet and I don't want to deal with these people and let them all suffocate. There's a way to do it. And then you leave and you float off into space and find some other civilization that, like we mentioned earlier, you find worthy. That's potentially possible. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's go to 5 here.
Why can't you just put a stop button in? Can you not just like take the plug out the wall?
We're not necessarily going to be able to do that because a sufficiently intelligent machine will already have thought of that. But you can't expect to be able to pull the plug unless the machine wants you to pull the plug.
So just more just like hammering home. They're going to start thinking on their own. They're going to start developing more. It's just going to keep progressing and progressing and progressing. Okay. Now this, I believe, is the last clip here. And this is where he talks about kind of just like the future and what he feels is really what's driving this entire process. And it's pretty scary when you really think about what he's about to say.
Should we be building super intelligent machines at all?
We could just decide not to do it, but the economic incentives are too great. The amount being invested right now specifically to create super intelligent AI is in the ballpark of what the entire world spends on basic science research. And if we do create super intelligent AI, the value, you know, back of the envelope calculation is tens of quadrillions of pounds.
We're going to annihilate ourselves, guys. We know that this could go horribly bad, horribly wrong. But you know what? Damn it. The money is just too important. I tend to agree with him, dude. I just think that I don't see it stopping, man. I don't. There's too many advantages. There's too much money. Everything's about the money, man. It always is. But it does leave us open for, you know, a lot of trouble. It does leave us open for there to be a problem. But what it also does do is it does leave it open to change propulsion, change transportation, change energy and how we use energy forever. Forever. And it gives us an opportunity to do that in a time frame that isn't 500 years, 1,000 years away of us just hammering away every year, our physicists trying to figure it out. Now, could it still take that long on our own to develop this stuff? Absolutely, man. The 2033, that's obviously like the prime position, right? That they figure it out. But when I really think about it, and I think of, you know, you look at what Eric Weinstein's saying and how string theory has all just been potentially something that has just led us astray. It's been a distraction. You know, and I think of how many of the great minds that are out there that have been working on that in physics, and they haven't been working in the right direction. And you wonder how long would that take for them if that's true, if string theory is something that we shouldn't really be looking at anymore. It's a distraction, it's diversion, it's a waste of time. By the time they figure that out and decide that they actually want to turn the ship, which for science and everything to turn the ship, as we know, it's difficult to do that, to get them to kind of go back on that and change the ship, rewrite it. Do they figure this out in time? Do they get quantum computing and AI together enough to where we just don't need it? We don't need them anymore to continue to hammer away at it. It's going to figure it out for us. It's going to beat them to the answer. And if it beats them to the answer, it creates craft. And what do we always hear about a lot of these crafts? I mean, even Lazar, I mean, whether you believe it or not, I mean, this is kind of what we hear from the lore, that a lot of these look like they're almost 3D printed. There's no seams, no rivets. How many cases have we heard about these crafts that are that way? Sounds like something that an AGI would design. You know, it could design something that way. And it could either design it for us, or it could use it to leave us and find something else. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, dude. But I can tell you that a few months ago, when I first started thinking about this is what kind of changed me from like kind of thinking, man, you know, this is, maybe we had some alien crash and maybe this is alien. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm not sold on that anymore. I'm more sold on this. This seems tangible. This seems tangible. This seems like something that we could get to before another civilization was able to get to us. The time frame seems more realistic. And you know, when you look at, like, there's cases where people are abducted and they go into crafts and they see humans right inside. You know, you have yeah, just you have reports. I mean, of like, look at Minot and Maelstrom. You know, they turn the nukes on and off. I mean, it could be that they're trying to change something. Us from the past, we're trying to change something. I don't know. But it's hella interesting to me, dude. And so if you guys, I can double check. I think the links are in there though, because I think I copy and pasted it there. But each video, they're not long. They're like 25, 30 minutes each. You know, you can put them on 2x speed if you want and run through them. But I can tell you that this is something I'm going to start to look more into. This is the kind of stuff I definitely want to dig more into and kind of understand where the potential is for this down the road and where we're at. How really real is 2033 for a date? Not a date for like the aliens are coming. Don't get me started on that. I tweeted about that earlier in the week, man, about this whole 3-body problem, and the James Webb is supposedly seeing all these ships and stuff. It's to me, it's nonsense. We've heard all this stuff a billion times. The end of the world predictions, you're lost on me. If you start giving me dates, I'm kind of out when it comes to it. But that's going to be it, man. Hour and 54 we did today, huh? How about that? Hour and 54? Dude, it took a couple weeks off, but you guys got your money's worth when you came back. Okay? I hope you did. I think you got your money's worth. Yeah, we'll start wrapping this thing up. Sorry once again for the technical issues, man, from the start of this thing. But as you could probably tell if you watched the whole episode today, that I was excited about this episode, man. I really wanted to do this one a lot. I felt that there was a lot to talk about. There was a lot of value to bring today, where last Sunday, I don't know. I don't think I wasn't as excited about anything. When I do these shows and I do stuff, I want to be excited about what I'm talking about. So obviously, Arthur Preston, thank you for coming. Gebs, John Stokes, you guys were cool. Thank you for retweeting the show and all the fixes and the problems. Obviously, shout out to Red Panda Koala, man. So cool for you to stop by and say what's up. As we go through here, Steve Hammers, Sean NSBA. I've never seen you before, but you came in here and gave me one of these skeptical faces in chat. I don't know what that meant, but like, thanks for coming by. Obviously, Puck Elf, Sapphire Elf, good to see you, dude. Thanks for coming. Lil Pop Tart stopped by. Lil Pop Tart, what's up, dude? He's Greer all the way. Greer's the way. Greer's the way. This guy's name is Relaxing Farts. He says there were no pilots that were involved. Let me see. Corbell's Cat. Good for coming in as well. Appreciate you guys. So look, next Sunday, if there's something big, we might have a show. I don't know. Maybe I'll find something cool to bring you guys on Sunday. But regardless, November 13th, as long as there's a hearing on that day, I do want to live stream that hearing. So I'll end up posting the thumbnail for it, and you guys can be able to see it, see able to track and see what's going on. The only reason I haven't posted it yet is because I don't know the time. I don't know what time it's supposed to be at. So, yeah, but I definitely want to live stream it. I'm just going to take the day off from work and get up in the morning and do it, because I'm sure it's going to be in the morning, which is good for UK people, because you guys will be able to watch. So, yeah, thank you, Corbell Scott. I appreciate it. So, like, share, subscribe, anything helps. Like I said, don't forget, later on in the year, we're going to be doing a whole lot more with Twitter. We're not abandoning the channel, but dude, we are going to try some new stuff. I mean, we want to stretch our legs a little bit, see what's going on. All right. But that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for coming. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. See you soon. Follow the Twitter. Have a nice night, guys. Thanks again for coming.
On the afternoon and brew my cup. No UFO live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, depths and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, depths and rotary motion. Cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. John Stokes, depths and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Guardianton G-Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, don't forget, man. Come on. Thank you guys again, man. Have a good rest of your Sunday, dude. We'll see you out there in the Twitterverse. You know, that's how we do it.